I am held up by home. I am held up to home. It is tension punctuated by silence. It is cold suppers and hot tempers. It holds me tightly, too tight. I learn to breathe inwards, not out, pressing against it. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to do with you. I wonder if you felt it as you lay close to me. Perhaps you knew not to wrap so tightly around me. The questions of it pressing up in droplets against the window. They burn, dripping time down their sides. The jet lag of one home to another, the sickness tugging at either, presence not absence, here nor there, neither. Longing for what doesn't make sense, clutching at what isn't whole, slowing time with each grappling breath. Waves breaking in silence, coming home, bearing it all. Understanding without telling, without needing to even say, sitting on the silence, sinking into its silks. Home becomes a presence that I trust will always waver. Home becomes a presence that I trust will always waver. Home becomes a presence that I trust will always waver. Suffocated and confined, yet still swelling. Warmth in soft surroundings, a home amongst hills, sparkling inside our valleys. Because in spite of it all, I have still felt love. I know things will be okay, because in spite of it all, I have still felt love. Too tight. I'm longing for autumn at home, our home that extends beyond our house and into the hills. Hills made brassy and cold to the touch by bittersweet winds. The mountains here offer some nestling solace, but not enough to slow and silence the hot hissing iron of city thoughts. These hills of my new home are breath-giving to my tight chest, but they can't steady my heart in the same way. Mum would arrive home from work. Time has laid its dark muffling quilt over the outside world. The darkness makes things still here. Kellen has cleared things, lit candles, flickering light slides between eyes and their faces. It warms them. Words pushed into candlelight by sighs marking evening break. Shoes off, dinner simmering, tea poured, maybe wine, dogs sprawled across the sofa, setting the hush, warmth in soft surroundings. I sometimes wish I hadn't occupied the stereo so dominantly. We always offered familial warmth in that clearing of the day and our grievances, under candlelight, a home amongst hills. My family were never gushy or smothering in affection, never vulnerable like that. There was always so much love.
Love and home are ailments and ointments to each other, complicating each other. Love was never loud or overt.
Love did not announce itself to the room. We could read it elsewhere. Love was trust, it was respect. It was consistent, underlying, quiet. But love was incredibly complicated. It was a whole other language within our home. It was strained and pushed more than it often seemed it could withstand. I don't plan on enduring childbirth, but I think in this way perhaps I can see how I would. I remember the power that vulnerability always held. It propped up love, the sheer magnitude of it being enough to terrify those who held it. I remember vulnerability as an all or nothing. Walking out of the house, figuring things out, breathing in colder air. The power in that was baffling, the power in doing what you need to cope. When you're young, it's difficult to properly gauge the driving force of adult vulnerability. A kind of vulnerability that stings in blistering winds, a salty water to clean the wound, suffocated and confined yet still swelling. Vulnerability is not the aching but the ointment. Once you accept vulnerability, you harness it. You begin to understand exactly what it is you need it for. Home becomes a presence that I trust will always waver. Home becomes a presence that I trust will always waver. Home becomes a presence that I trust will always waver. Because in spite of it all, I have still felt love. I know things will be okay, because in spite of it all, I have still felt love.